Hey guys, what is going on? Back once again to talk about the NFL games from week 7. And we're going to do a prediction stream as well for week 8. So before we get to that, let's start with the early window games from the NFL. We're going to go to the Rams and the Jaguars. The Rams won 35-7 in London on Sunday, and they completely outplayed and outscored, and they move on to 5-2, while the Jaguars fall 4-3. Of course, you look at the Jaguars; they had more time of possession, so they had way more total yards than the Rams, but they also had over 13 penalties, so which pretty much they played behind from the beginning point of the game. Trevor Lawrence completely struggled throughout the entirety. Him and Brian Thomas Jr. have no chemistry out there on the field. You can see that, and they just completely were shattered all the way around. The Rams controlled everything from get-go. Kyron Williams had 54 yards on 12 carries, but it didn't matter because Matthew Stafford was just dialing it up from beginning to end, hitting up Terrence Ferguson. Devontae Adams had 3 touchdowns. They just were dominant all the way around. So it pretty much made them invincible at this standpoint, knowing the factor and knowing what was going on throughout the entirety because of the play, just from the play overall, the protection for the offensive line, the protection to open up little certain lanes, shooting the A and the B level gaps in the run game, which pretty much pushed them over the top and really much made them, just unstoppable. And they had 21-0 by the end of the first half, and they completely put the foot on the necks of the Jaguars. They had a league high 7 sacks on Trevor Lawrence. And, of course, the protection from the Jaguars offensive line wasn't nowhere to be found. The defense for the Jags tried to keep them in it a little bit, but it just wasn't enough due to the standpoint of the fact that the Rams just pretty much had in there from beginning to end. So my thing is, for the LA Rams, they're playing like a team that's desperate. They're playing like a team that wants to still be able to still maintain control and get control of the NFC West, but it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time to do it because of the fact that you got 2 other teams that are willing to compete to take that spot of the NFC West title, meaning that's 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks, which I will talk about them later on in these little short recaps and breakdowns. So my thing is, the Rams got probably one of the better overall secondaries. Darius Williams, Quentin Lake, Kobe Durant, and also you got a really good front four and Byron Young and Jerry Verse. You got rid of Nathan Gallimore, but you still picked up another good D-line. The only thing I would say is the questions to their linebackers because they don't really tackle that great in open space. But that would be the main thing I would say they need to address during this trade and during the free agency and also during the trade deadline. Go trade to get some important linebackers. Now, of course, the Eagles and the Vikings, that's the game I'll talk about the most because a lot of people were anticipating this, and I thought it was going to be more of an upset because I didn't like what I saw from the showing in the last couple of games from Philly. But Philly got their passing game going with Jalen Hurts as he was able to dial up for 326. They nearly had a perfect pass rate and a perfect game all the way around. Saquon Barkley just was still a no-show, was still struggling throughout the entirety. Carson Wentz had two crucial interceptions. Interception returned by Jackson Hunt, returned for the touchdown, 46 yards, and then of course an interception by the rookie Makuba. And then what happened is with the Eagles off of those turnovers, and the Vikings are trying to reel themselves back in it and keep the game closer and tighten. Jalen Hurts was able to dial it up and back to Devontae Smith, as you can see in the video in the highlights. But then also A.J. Brown, he was able to dial up for another touchdown play. So he had 124 yards on 4 receptions and 2 touchdowns. So that was able to pretty much make the difference in the game for them. And then my thing is with the Philadelphia Eagles, they still have question marks, with the movement and the shift on the offensive line. Mekhi Becton has been out of the lineup. Lane Johnson's been in and out. Landon Dickerson's been kind of iffy, been in and out of the lineup at times. So that was the thing that I was the concern with, that I thought Brian Flores would have had a better game plan to design schemes and actually keep contained of the offense, but he just did not do that. He just did not make the kind of adjustments that I would have thought they would have made, and that was the thing that kind of frustrated me more less the most about them overall. It's just they didn't find no other kind of way to keep the momentum going, and to me that was a problem all the way around. And if I'm the Minnesota Vikings, I'll be looking at myself in the mirror and actually thinking about trying to move away from Carson Wentz and hopefully get J.J. McCarthy back, and looking to get some better guys in the secondary, because Isaiah Rodgers did not play well at all. He was kept constantly getting burned and getting cooked, and Byron Murphy did not play well either, which was a shocking factor. So yeah, man, that's the thing that I would be looking at if I was the Minnesota Vikings, looking at some better, bigger, and more faster, more stronger corners, and actually looking to get guys back, on the pass rush, because I would think a couple of guys that was out. So yeah, that would be the main thing I would be looking at if I'm in the Eagles. I continue to build off of this momentum. You play the Giants the next coming week. I think that's going to be a game where it's going to be a revenge game. They're going to be looking for blood. They're going to be out for revenge overall. So build off of this win. Build off the confidence and the momentum. If you're Philly, call out your offensive coordinator and call out your coaching staff to feature more Saquon Barkley and get more lanes opening into the gap, and try to do more H-back tosses, H-back counters, to try to get him a bit going, because, get more energized, or even get him out the backfield with a screen pass or a couple of jet sweeps, get him going. So that'd be the main thing I'll look at if I was Philly. All right. Now, let's get to the more interesting matters of games. So, Kansas City Chiefs pretty much have been talked about all week and all last week as they blew out the Vegas Raiders 31-0. They're up to 4-3 now. Patrick Mahomes had an amazing game, especially with the return of Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice was a big factor in this game. Just his play alone. He ended up having 7 receptions for 42 yards and 2 touchdowns, and impacted the running back Brashard Smith, Tyquan Thornton, Xavier Worthy, Juju Smith-Schuster, Hollywood Brown, and Travis Kelce. All these guys were getting going because of the impact of Rashee Rice. He was able to open up the middle of the field, open up the hooks and curls, open up the seams, open up the flats, open up everything that the Chiefs was wanting, and end up going vertical as well. So that's what Rashee Rice adds to that core. And you've seen that back when he was in Buffalo a couple of years ago, where he just pretty much opened up the entirety of the game. And that's how the Chiefs was able to get points on the board and was able to control the second half over the Bills. So that was because of Rashee Rice. Just the amount of impact he's had, man, you got to give a lot of credit to them. Shout out to the Chiefs, man. They really showing you why they still the reigning 3-time Super Bowl champions. So you can't really never count them out, no matter what the stakes are. So, and if you're the Vegas Raiders, man, there's a whole lot of things you got to be worried looking at. You might have the wrong coach and the wrong quarterback, and you might need to go back to the drawing board, go back to the wheelhouse. Otherwise, you might need to take your trips out to Cancun and Barbados, man, and take it out to the Bermuda, because they're absolutely hitting the high road with this one, man. Hell or high water, because it is absolutely an abomination down there. Absolutely abomination all the way around. And Al Davis' son and Tom Brady are absolutely pissed. And I don't blame them, because that team is absolute garbage. But as far as the Kansas City Chiefs is concerned, they're gonna be a team that you need to watch out for and look out for, because they're gonna be coming. They're coming. They're fierce, and they're not playing with anybody right now. So yeah, look out for them, because they're gonna be there when it's all said and done, definitely in the postseason. Let me get there. All right. So another story, pretty much, gonna be talked about, and it's pretty much one of the biggest talked about stories, is the Denver Broncos overcome a 19-point deficit and come back and score 33 points in the entirety of the fourth quarter, 4 touchdowns led by Bo Nix, and a late field goal after a pass interference on the Broncos side of the ball, which was the ball thrown by Jackson Dart, and they was able to get inside and get into field goal range after failing to get a 3rd and goal inside of the 5-yard line of the Broncos. And then the Broncos end up having the last of the possession after a couple of turnovers, and was able to get in the field goal range. And Will Lutz was able to kick the 39-yard field goal, and the Broncos end up winning it 33-32. Man, what an incredible finish for the Broncos in the fourth quarter, and an epic collapse for the New York Football Giants. Let's just go into what happened with the collapse. For me, the Giants defense gave up 33 points in the fourth quarter. That needs to be talked about a whole lot more. You cannot give up that many points in the fourth quarter defensively after you held this team dang near scoreless for the entirety of the game. That doesn't make any sense to me. And nobody is talking about that. And then you got to look at the Broncos. They had dang near 140-some rush yards and 265 passing yards. Half of those 200-some yards came in the fourth quarter alone. And not only that, you had way more first downs, but all of those first downs, which is at least 12 of them, came in the fourth quarter alone. That is insane, in my opinion. And that is the thing that needs to be talked about more than just Bo Nix, and more than just the running game, and more than just Jackson Dart's turnover. That needs to be talked about so much more in depth. And if I'm the Giants, look at my team and look and assess and everything and say, hey, what happened? What the F happened with why we collapsed so much in this game? And that is the thing that is a cause of concern. If I'm the Giants, definitely something that I would definitely look at if I was them. Try to address the elephant in the room defensively, getting after the passer, and controlling the game, controlling the clock. Oh, JY Best, hey, what's going on? Controlling the clock, controlling the time possession. If I'm the Giants, next week I don't think it's gonna happen as far as them getting a lot of points on the board, because I think Philly is gonna be on their mind for revenge. They're gonna be out for blood. They're gonna be out for absolute tearing up somebody, and they're gonna take all their anger and frustration out on whoever is down there, man. So it's gonna be a long day for them. It's gonna be a long day for the Giants next week. Excuse me. All right, now let's look at another big story, and that is the Colts and the Chargers. The Colts winning by 2 touchdowns, 38-14. Man, the Colts move on to 6-1. The Chargers fall to 4-3. The Colts are the only team, as far as offensively as a whole, to score 232 points through the first 7 games of the NFL season and the merger. Only team that's able to do, only in franchise history, scored 232 points. Only the 1965 version of the Colts was able to score more. And not only this, not even Peyton Manning-led Colts with Wayne, Marvin Harrison, and Dallas Clark now wasn't even able to score this many points in the first 7 games of the season. Not even scoring average of 33.3 points in the beginning of the game of the season. It's absolutely incredible play from Daniel Jones, Jonathan Taylor, and the coach, led by the coach in the Shane Steichen and Jim Bob Cooter. That's just an unbelievable stat line to look at. And also, the Colts have dominated the game from Jump Street, from get go. The Chargers didn't have no. I was gonna say the Chargers did not have no chance whatsoever to even get involved in this game. Justin Herbert literally had to throw the ball 55 times to get to 400 yards. Oh, to get to 400 some yards. That's insane for you to throw the ball 55 times, 420 yards, and not only that, had 2 interceptions. That's and 3 touchdowns late in the game, which was just garbage points. Try to get themselves going. I mean, that's just an unbelievable way of being one dimensional and not having no kind of answer whatsoever defensively to contain and slow down this high-powered Colts offense. No adjustments, lack of adjustments from Jesse Mitter and Jim Harbaugh, and they're gonna go into the locker room knowing what's at stake and the division's at stake. Yeah, these kind of games you're gonna look back on and be like, man, what could have done to change the outcome? All right, so we're gonna talk about the Commanders and the Cowboys. So the Cowboys end up blowing out the Commanders 44-22. Jaden Daniels went out of the game in the third quarter with a ankle sprain, and he did not return. So the thing is, Marcus Mariota ended up filling in the role, and he pretty much did not play well at all. I mean, the Cowboys found an answer defensively, end up causing a couple of turnovers. Javonte Williams had a really solid game, 116 yards on 19 carries. CeeDee Lamb was solid, but George Pickens, the story of the game, he had 2 big, amazing catches down the sidelines. Beautiful balls thrown by Prescott, and also they was able defensively to hold. They was able to hold the Commanders to under 200 yards, to a little bit under 300 yards passing. Although they had 136 rushing yards, they was able to hold them to like 5.3 yards per play, which is pretty much their lowest. Both teams were efficient on third down, don't get me wrong, but the Commanders just did not have enough scoring-wise to really keep up because the Cowboys was able to control and dictate the pace of the game. And also, yeah, they had more time possession, and the Commanders already had 11 penalties, 118 yards. So that was pretty much the difference. Dak Prescott pretty much considers himself and puts himself in the MVP conversation. Now, if I didn't even mention right then and there, going back to the Colts and Chargers, he's up there. Prescott's up there with Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor, who puts their hat in the conversation in the bucket list for the MVP or Offensive Player of the Year. So you got to get some love and got to give some credit to what Dak Prescott and that Dallas high-powered engine motor offense has been doing. And yeah, I definitely think that they can score with the best of them, but their defense gonna give up a lot. Gonna give up 40 points, so that's a major concern. I think they're gonna see that later on down the road, down the year. I don't know if they're gonna be able to compete to get into the top rankings in the NFC. It's gonna be a long battle. It's gonna be a long fight. So we'll see what's gonna happen. All right. And then the last is the San Francisco 49ers and the Atlanta Falcons. So the 49ers move on to 5-2, while the Atlanta Falcons fall to 3-3. The story pretty much was Christian McCaffrey for the 49ers. 24 carries, 129 yards, 2 touchdowns, along with 7 receptions for 72 yards. In total, he had over 311 total scrimmage yards, and pretty much was the yin to Matt Jones' yang, because he was not having that great of a game throwing wise. He pretty much underperformed as far as his passing. He only had 152 passing yards. But the defense was for the 49ers was able to slow down Michael Penix, was able to slow down Bijan Robinson, and was able to slow down that receiving core for the Falcons. And then also and only was able to held the Falcons to only 62 rushing yards. Inefficient on third down, only 5 of 11. The 49ers defense got them off the field while they was 9 for 15. And both were low in yards per play. Well, the 49ers story of the game was them. It had 32 minutes and 10 seconds time possession to the 49ers only 27 minutes and 49 seconds in time possession. That was the difference in the game. Christian McCaffrey was his dominance and his ability to get out in the open field and open spaces, able to break tackles, able to bowl people over. It was just something to watch for them, and that's what made them so dynamic and so dangerous. So that'd be a thing I'll be concerned about if I was anybody facing them right now, especially the ones in the NFC West. So yeah, that's the main thing that I would be concerned about if I was anybody facing against this 49ers team in the NFC. You don't want to see this team when it's down to the wire because they be the type that they can pull it out. But all right, guys, those are my recasts, and those are my recaps from all the Week 7 games. I didn't get to every single one of them because I will do a separate video for them all. But yeah, those are my thoughts about Week 7 so far and those games. We'll get into a Week 8 predictions video probably either tomorrow, Thursday, probably maybe Thursday. And I'll predict the Vikings and Chargers and the rest of them. I'm not going to talk about every game because every game it's not going to really mean much. But yeah, overall, those are my thoughts. Tell me what you guys think. Thank you all for watching. I am out. And for those of you who are commenting in the chat room and also in the comment section, thank you very much. Like, share, and subscribe. I'm out.